Hey, 4-1. What's wrong with these niggas talking down on us, dog? Talking about we ain't doing what we do. Nigga, we done been out here about like 10 years, nigga. We getting old, goddammit. Let's get it. We made niggas put them rose bottles up. We made the whole city boss, they like fuck. Boss, they like fuck. We made niggas wanna go and hit hush. Bitch, we made niggas, you know we love to stunt. We made niggas put them rose bottles up. We made the whole city boss, they like fuck. Boss, they like fuck. We made niggas wanna go and hit hush. Bitch, we made niggas, you know we love to stunt.
Welcome back to the Georgia Tech Dynasty, ladies and gentlemen. Coming off a tough loss to Notre Dame, 31-20. If you missed it, I'll tag it right here. Be sure to go check it out. Really close game. I mean, 11 points is a tight one, but it was even closer than that. We had a chance to drive down the field, take the lead, and I don't want to spoil the game for you, but we missed out on that opportunity. Couldn't convert on a key play, and the Fighting Irish ended up pulling away, getting the win, so we lose our first ever game at Georgia Tech. Again, go check it out. Spectacular game. Looking forward to more in the future. Today we got a recruiting episode following that game, and as you can see, not off to a great start. Calvin Johnson Jr., our hopeful prized recruit of this class, is a heavy Eastern Michigan lean. He really likes the MAC, apparently. He's got Ohio and Northern Illinois up there as well. Again, this is a recruit that I created in hopes that we would get him, and it'd be kind of a cool storyline because Calvin Johnson went to Georgia Tech, and this would technically be his son. So hopefully we can bring him in. We're in 7th right now. We just started recruiting him last week, so we clearly have some work to do. But kind of just looking at everybody else who we put points on last week, we're looking really good on all these guys. Corey Marshall, Mike Butler, Tom Coach, Mike O'Neill were behind, but Auburn is really going after this guy hard. We'll take a look at his numbers in a second. But before that, here's our team needs. We need a quarterback, and that's pretty much it from the game's perspective. But as y'all know, this is a one-star school, not a whole lot of talent, so we're trying to bring in as many good players as possible. And we have 7 scholarship spots left, as we already have 4 instant commits. As you can see here, Auburn is really going after this guy hard. They probably have the full 700 on him at this point, so that's why we're in 2nd. So we're just going to try to hang around. He's our top guard prospect. Everywhere else, so we're looking really good. Travis McMillan, Anthony McKinney. Not so well on Bear Robinson at corner, but just continuing to move down the list here. Trying to find guys maybe we could offer scholarships for, get instant commits from. Chuck Penn might be one of those guys. He's kind of a tweener. He's not great. He's kind of a speed rusher, but he's not that fast. Corey Hawkins. I like this guy. I know he's only 63 overall, but 89 speed, 86 excel, 79 elusiveness, 78 hit power, or juke move rather. We offered him last week, and I think he's worthy of some more points, so we're going to bump him up to like 400, I think, and we're going to move him up the list. I know he's only 63 overall. I know what you're thinking, but we don't have speed like he has at the running back position, so we'll give him 200 for now. We're going to give him some more later on, I'm going to tell you right now, because he definitely needs them, and we definitely need a player like him on our roster. So the guys towards the bottom here, we have points on, but we're not going after too seriously. Here's a look at Maurice Bryant. We have 4 running backs on the board right now. I'm hoping to bring in 2. And Maurice Bryant may not be one of them because he's just so similar to guys we already have on a recruiting board, or roster rather, right now. Decently fast, pretty big. Just, I don't know. Let's kick that Georgia State guy out of here. He instant committed last week, so we no longer want him. Matt Little might be that guy. 94 speed, 83 acceleration, 3-star guy out of New Jersey. He's kind of a mix of everything that I want. He has everything that Hawkins has, plus a little more than that, as he's 94 speed. He's way up there. But he's also got that juke and elusiveness ability as well. So Matt Little, Corey Hawkins, that would be the best 1-2 punch at running back on the recruiting trail, I think, in this entire class, and would instantaneously transform our team into just absolute speed demon of an offense. So we'll see if we can bring those 2 guys in. I also like Ken Bryant. He's only 67 overall. As you can see, our former team, Oregon State, is going after him as well. 3-star out of Alabama. He's tall. He's 6'2", 208, and he also has 93 speed and 87 acceleration, which at the wide receiver spot, again, is something that we don't really have right now, which is pure speed, raw speed. If you missed the previous recruiting episode, week 1, I'll tag it here. We got 4 instant commits, kicker, punter, Rob Woods here, a guy we may have reached on, but looking back at it now, maybe not. I mean, 72 catching, 71 route running, decent speed, 89, 84. Maybe not a guy who we just kind of hand a limited roster spot to, but he committed instantly. So there's nothing we can do about it now, and you know what? He's good enough. He's better than half of the wide receivers we have in our roster at this point, so whatever. So a third of our class is signed. Now I'm just kind of going through, tacking some extra points on guys we're in the lead for. We got to give Micah O'Neal a couple of more. If Auburn's just going to run away with it, that just is what it is. We have other offensive linemen on the board that we can go after. Barrett Robinson, he's good enough where we can bring him in. We brought in 3 corners last year, so probably only 1 this season. Hopefully that guy can be Barrett Robinson, but if not, that's fine because we restocked that position last year. D-tackle is another position we need to go after and go after hard. So Anthony McKinney is getting all of the points. We're going to go down on Chris Williams, and I think we're going to go all in on McKinney for now because he's that good, and we need to bring in a defensive tackle, like a good defensive tackle, ASAP Rocky, because our best defensive tackle right now is as good as McKinney at 72 overall. And if you watched the Notre Dame game, you saw that we were absolutely exposed. Speaking of the D-line, Ian Jackson is our top defensive end recruit. We got to bring in a defensive end as well, and we didn't really find any high-profile type guys on the trail, so it's Jackson and Penn. And between the two, I like Jackson more because he's a little bit faster, and he's better with the power and finesse moves. And in fact, I'm going to move, do a little bit of switching and swapping here between Penn, Garcia, and these linebackers. These linebackers are good. Garcia's a stud. He's tall, he's big, he's fast, and the same could be said about Marcus Cutler. So there's certainly some great prospects on this board, and we have a limited class. Like I said, only 7 spots left right now with 11 seniors graduating, but we already have 4 guys signed. There are some juniors that could go pro, so there's potential to sign a bigger class, but the guys we need to absolutely hit on are those linebackers and then the 2 running backs as well. We absolutely have to have those 2 guys, or 4, I guess. We got to have McKinney, and we have to have Calvin Johnson Jr. I mean, we don't have to have him, but obviously it'd be more fun if we got him. Plus, he's also a really good wide receiver, simply put. So those are the people we need to have. Offensive line's another spot that I'm kind of trying to reload in. So getting a nice tackle, guard, center, 1 of each would be great. So those are kind of our goals for this recruiting cycle. And let's go ahead and advance into next week and see if we get any kind of updates on that front. Okay, so looks like Anthony McKinney is ready to visit. He's our top defensive tackle on the board, and that's big. If we can lock him up early before anybody else can kind of get their hand in there and play a role in that recruitment, that would be great. So next recruiting episode, we'll go ahead and schedule him because we have another road game this week, so there's no point in going and doing that right now. I don't want to spoil the week 3 recruiting episode for you guys. But that's going to do it for the recruiting aspect. What I do want to do now before we wrap it up and look ahead to our second game of the year, which is on the road at Wake Forest, who was ranked, but looks like they lost, so that sucks. We lose an opportunity in a ranked win. Drip of the day. This is something I did with the Oregon State Dynasty. Reminder, go check it out if you haven't already. 170 episodes over there. What this is I highlight 1 or 2 players, and today I'm going to do 4 because we haven't done it for anybody that played really well. We're going to up their swag game, make them look like beastly players because I got to tell you, man, going through that first game, having our quarterback wearing a Revo helmet, the gumpy, the dusty stuff, man, we got to look good if we want to play good. So we're going to go ahead and pick a couple of players to swag out this week. I was rolling through my roster here to see if I had any overall boosts, and you probably saw a couple of players get those +1s and +2s, so that's hype. You see my quarterbacks both got a +1. First player we're going to highlight for Drip of the Day is Matt Slater, starting quarterback. Obviously, by default, he needs to be looking nice as our starting quarterback because he represents the team, but he also played really well last week. Dual threat guy, had some big runs, had a touchdown pass as well, and I was really happy and pleased with how he facilitated the offense and his poise despite playing in Notre Dame Stadium, one of the toughest places to play in the country. So we're going to get him looking nice, and I'm excited to see what he can do with this offense going forward. All right, so quarterbacks in the books. We're going to do Chris Grant next. He's our starting running back who had a massive game against the Fighting Irish. He went down with an injury, and I believe it was the 3rd quarter, maybe in the 4th, late in the game. And we really missed him. He went for over 100 yards in his first game under our watch and really efficient. He struggled early on with the speed. That's just because the sliders do that. He sped up throughout the game, and as it went out, had a couple of big runs, ran over dudes, juked dudes out. I really like what he could bring to the table, and he fits our offense super well. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the future. Hopefully we can avoid that injury bug, but I'm really, really excited about Chris Grant in this offense. I think he's poised for a big season, perhaps even a record-breaking season as we try to, reset some school records here at Georgia Tech in year 1. Man, I gotta tell you, when it comes to the ice game, we don't do it. Nobody does it better than us, rather. Grant's looking drippy as hell, man. And on that note, we're gonna stick with the skill position players and go with Sean Brown, true freshman wide receiver. Had a coming out party against Notre Dame. Couple of big catches for upwards of 40 yards. Still waiting on his first career touchdown, but you know, I'm not a big fan of Petty. He's our wide receiver 1, but doesn't really act like it. He had a fumble and really just wasn't a big impact player. Nelson, I believe his last name is. I'm still trying to learn our roster to memory. I'm going to get it eventually. Our wide receiver 2 had a touchdown catch, so we'll get him next week. But Sean Brown's one of the future pieces of this team, and he had a really good game in his first career game at the collegiate level, so we're going to get him looking nice, and I think he is also poised for a big season. And again, he's going to be a building block of what will hopefully be a powerhouse in years to come. All right, for our last drip of the day candidate, we're going to go to the defensive side of the ball and hit Noah Miller. He had a couple of TFLs and a sack against Notre Dame. One of the better defensive players that we have. Really the only guy on the D-line that showed any kind of a pulse in terms of getting in the backfield and getting pressure. So he'll continue to make plays for us. He's going to be the leader of that defense all year. Who knows what's in store for him? He could have a double-digit sack season, and I'm not sure what the statistics are exactly for, you know, school records for sacks in a single season or career sacks, but you know, when it's all said and done, Noah Miller could touch those. So I'm excited to see what he could do on this defensive line. We certainly need a little bit more acclimation and disruption from them, and hopefully he can spearhead that moving forward. All right, so that's the first edition of Drip of the Day, and like I always say, comment down below who you guys think should earn it, deserve it, whatever, week after week, and we will put those submissions on air. Here's a look at the ACC Coastal standings. Not a whole lot going on yet. Nobody's even played a conference game, but we're going to kick off conference play in our next game on the road against Wake Forest, the team that went to the college football playoff last year and won the ACC. So Notre Dame was a great chance for us to make a statement. We kind of missed out on it, but we still made a statement. A one-star school taking the #2 team in the nation all the way down to the wire, all the way down into the late fourth quarter stages. I think that's a promising sign. Let's see if we can go on the road to Winston-Salem and pick up a massive victory early in the season, and that could propel us out to a big campaign. So I'm excited for that game. Hope you guys are as well. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for the post notifications. That way you never miss a post, and we'll be back soon with that game against the Demon Deacons.